Hello, fellow builders, and welcome back to the bench. Mediocre Milo here, ready to move on to the next phase of our Treadbike build. It's assembly and modification, which means putty, sand, repeat. Now, I'm sure I'm not alone in this. I hate sanding. I hate it. But it could be argued that many a model could, the difference between you getting that gold and not getting the gold is in the sanding. It really is. It's in the top five. I'll put it there. But the reason I say modification, because we've got the majority of the pieces. But much like this here, this right here. Remember that we're going to attach the fairing to that. And that's a wobbly. And we can't have that. So I made a thing. Let me show you the thing. So this is the thing. And what it's supposed to do is give me support so that doesn't move around. It kind of looks like a jack stand. And the main thing I was going for here was just trying to get it to where it was the right size to support where the attachment points of the fairing was supposed to be. That was the only thing. And the fact that it worked the first time just amazes the heck out of me. I mean, but you look at it, and I mean, there's really, I wanted it wide enough to make a little bit of support, rounded the edges. There could be more design. Now that I know I've got the right height, I could play with this design. As long as this and that stay right where they need to be, I can make that look any way I want it. Because, like I said, the whole point was getting the size right. Now let's check it out. Yep, and here it is. Yeah, all that for this little itty bitty thing. But what it does for me is it slides right in. No issues, no sanding, no modification. It just goes where it's supposed to go. I'm squeezing it, and it's doing its job. So that's one part of the fabrication down. I'm hesitant to glue it into place, but that's really what needs to happen. I need to go on ahead and glue it in place. Actually, my thought was to glue that to that first, then glue it on here, and then maybe I can do, it needs to coat a primer on here so we can get started with that. Yeah. Let's get to the bench and see what we can get going. Okay, I know this is weird, but as much as I hate sanding, I love Bondo. It's like that magic thing that hides all your little crimes. And even though it takes a little while for it to dry, once it dries, you can do so much with it. But it does kind of get everywhere. Now, I have made the job of sanding a little bit easier by using the detail sander. It's changed the game. It really speeds up the time, and it makes really short work of difficult cracks and seams. But there's nothing that can replace hand sanding. As I said, this is modification and sanding and such. It took me a while to figure out a color. Since this is a ground vehicle, I went with earth colors. So that was one hurdle. My little thing that I made, I didn't take into consideration that I would have the tread in the way. So I had to modify it a little bit. So it's going to sit off to the side a little bit, but it still should do what it's supposed to do. The problem I have is I didn't take in consideration the track. So I got the crossbar piece here in the paint booth, but when I put it there, my angle is off, and it's not gonna. So what I have to do is I'd have to remove this portion of the frame, which is why I'm glad I didn't make it solid, because... Pardon the interruption for correcting myself mid-video, but what I meant to say was I'm glad I made it solid instead of hollow, because then the part that I'm sanding off would have left a kind of a hole in the frame, which I would have had to go in and make a styrene plate to glue over that and then sand it down, and it'd have been a whole nother thing. But I didn't, so didn't have to deal with it. Sorry. So back to the video. Sorry. If I had, then that would have provided a whole different host of problems. So now I'm going to run this out and sand that off and see where we are. We're just going to... But my goal is to get that where I need it to be, and then get our side braces and put those on there, and that should hold this all together. But one step at a time. Okay, first from paint. Got that there. That goes there. Good enough. We've sanded our hump down, which my brain translated as like a gas tank or something like that. And you know what? I mean, that's good. That's good. I did make another modification. This was my side brace, and what was happening was when I put it in the sides there of the Treadbike here, I ended up with a gap on either side. So what I had to do is modify it, and I had to add a little bit of a hump there to fill the gap. So now I've got two of those go in there, and then you have just enough room for the tank, the frame body to go in between. There's a hole that goes all the way through. So what I'm planning on doing is, since this is flat, I should be able to. I want to go all the way through. But I'm thinking that might not necessarily be, because I want it to all hold itself together. I want all these things to support each other. But that's what we're looking at. Actually, that's pretty dang good. And then our little jack stand thing goes on the end there. So in theory, I can go ahead and glue those pieces in. That can be glued on in there. See, I sanded and modified that. This is an unmodified one. It's like it's not quite tall enough now, since I've moved it to the outer edge. So what I think I might do, I've got some thin styrene. I think I'm going to bring that back up to level, and maybe put a really thin, like 0.02 of styrene on there, and bring it up to where I'm getting more support from the edge of this guy, and then glue it. So yes, it's not even touching. Let me make that modification, and we'll come right back. We'll do the rest of the things. Well, this is a new one. So, like I said, I was going to do that. The whole point was to have my bar go all the way. Okay, that's a new one too. Anywho, the bar was supposed to go all the way through to lock these two in the exact right position. And so I took it out to the drill press and I'm drilling 3/4 of the way, and I get down to the last little bit and it literally explodes on me. So I can glue it back together, but there's that thing in my head that's a seam that I don't want to fight. So since I had to modify that part and I had to put I wanted a hole all the way through, the smart answer would be to do it in Fusion 360. So if I do it in Fusion 360, make the modifications, I can put the hole in, I can take this, the little hump out that I've got there, and I can actually hollow it out to make it lighter, which will make it print faster. So that's where we are. I don't know what else to say. Okay, let's just do Fusion 3. Let's do that. I've already taken off the baby bump there, and it's been hollowed out in the back. I've moved my peg holes, and let's move you all the way down. Mirrored it, and so we are going to try. So I got a hole there, I've got a hole here, and I've mirrored it, so I'm going to try and print the whole thing in one shot. We'll just see how this goes. So printing the thing all at once has reduced the amount of sanding, but there is still sanding. But this puts us right back where we were, trying to get our side braces in to make this two pieces into one long cycle. Treadbike, whatever you want to call it. I'm almost there, but I still ended up going out to the shed and using the drill press. All right, here's the old guy. Yep. And here's the new one. And quite frankly, it's looking pretty sweet. I am not mad at the way this is coming out. But here's the problem. It's not balanced. The resin is heavy. This is all hollow plastic, so even when I get a rider, we're going to use this just for whatever, we're going to just lay him on here for weight. The front end of the Treadbike is in the air, so we got to figure out how much weight we need to put in the nose. Well, how are we going to do that? Well, I got a couple ideas. Hold on. So first thing we're gonna do, because I don't want to just start throwing weight that, you know, I need to be able to go, oh, this is going to be about this much. So we're going to try and use something we can control. We've got these little screws. We've got plenty of them. And we can just start dropping them in until it drops the nose. Look at that. There you go. So that right there is the minimum amount. Yeah. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, we have a second rider. We'll put you on here. See if that's enough to counterbalance all the way. It is not. Let's just see how much more we're going to need. Huh. Not really that much. Come on, dude. Work with me here. There. Yeah. Still a little bit on the light side. That much. That much weight is how much I need. Now. The tape is part of it, so the tape has to stay with it. So, I'm going to do that. You rest. And you rest. There. So now that I know how much weight I need to get that nose down, the other thing is, well, how am I going to get how am I going to get it in there? Well, the glue for the top track came off. So what I'm probably going to do, well, you know what? I also didn't take in consideration. Let's do that again. The fairing, because the fairing in and of itself will bring the nose down a little bit. And look at that. That's kind of cool. I'm just going to say that's kind of cool. Let's see if that being on there will be enough to see. It brings the nose up. Yep. And realistically, come on, guys. Come on. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. Put you on there. Put you on there like that. Don't spill. Good. I know. Just had to be sure. So, and we still are going to have like, I have to figure out, all right, if I'm going to use this guy, I'm going to have to go grab some hands out of the bin, because he comes with several different, so I'll probably use the blaster hands, because they're already in that kind of shape. Get him on here and figure out what my controls are going to be like. How wide apart they're going to be. All that good jazz. But, like I said, for the most part, at this point, I need to weigh this, figure out, because I don't want to just chuck this in there. I would like to find one solid weight of some lead or something. So I need to go and use the kitchen scale or something to figure out how much weight this is. And then And actually, I can go on ahead and run this pin all the way through and glue that down. I'm pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the way this is coming out so far. I need to figure out the color scheme. I like that color. I kind of like that black, but we got to figure some things out. Because whatever color that's going to be, we're going to have to, this is going to match. Maybe. But I think we've made a lot of progress. So what I'm going to do, we got to figure out this weight thing. So I'm going to call it good for right now. Because we did get a lot done with our failure and everything else. We did get a lot done. Because the next step is painting and greebling. So the next time we meet, that'll be weighed down. Yeah, give me a minute to think on this one. No matter how much you plan, there's always that thing that comes out of the blue and it's like, hey, you didn't consider me. Because trust me, when I started drilling, the last thing I expected was for that thing to just shatter in front of me. And the sad thing is, I think that's happened in the past. I got to figure out what that was. I don't know if I've got, there was pressure built up in there. I'm not sure. Either way, now that I know it's possible, I can take that into consideration. Now, as far we're on the second tread bike, I'm going to keep that body, but we might make the fairing a little bit different, make it a little bit rounder, or maybe figure out a way to mold some guns into it or something, because I haven't decided. I had some ideas. I thought about figuring out a way to do a sidecar, or maybe incorporate a droid in there. I'm not sure. But the possibilities are endless. But let's just get past, weighing it down and getting the rider on the first one. So, until we meet again, have fun, be safe, and if you get a chance, go build something, and we'll see you next time. Pew 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 pew.